Friends, today I'll be taking a topic biostatistics and epidemiology. This is the first video in the series of the video which will follow. In this video, I would like to cover various common terminologies. So this is the base over which the whole biostatistics will lie. So if you understand these terms, it will be easy for us to understand the next videos. So first of all, as we all know that we keep on telling people that what is data. So actually singular is datum. So datum is a piece of information. Whatever piece of information or observation we collect from the source of datum or data is called as datum. So data is plural of datum and it is a set of values collected from the observational units. As we all know, the literal meaning of statistic is figure. And if we just see the plural as we come to know statistics, this means figures. But this statistics, if it is used in a singular sense, so it becomes a science of figures, science which deals with the study of figures. And this is very clear. What is biostatistics? When this science of figures is applied to medical field, this is called as biostatistics. Like if medical science also needs provision. If somebody has, we say that he is having less BP, he is having more blood pressure, it becomes very subjective. So ideally we have to measure it, and whatever can be measured is very precise. So especially in the medical field, if we know the values or the figures, if something can be translated into figures or can be represented in figures, becomes more precise. So this statistics, when this science is applied to biofield, that means medical field or health field, it becomes biostatistics. Biostatistics is also called quantitative medicine. And as we all know that medicine is full of variations. Like we don't have an exact blood pressure, 120 systolic and 80 diastolic. There is always a range, and that range is best for certain age groups. So there are a lot of variations of data in medical scenario. So that is why this science is also called as science of variation. Then there's a term which is very commonly asked in exams, that what are vital statistics? This pertain to vital events of births or deaths in biostatistics. And health statistics deal with public or community health. So any science of figure, when it is applied to public or community health, it becomes health statistics. Then commonly we use the term population. Population is the entire group of people or study elements on which the study will be conducted. Like if we want to know the diabetic population in Indore district of Madhya Pradesh, so the population whole of Indore will become the population under study. And sample is that part of population which acts as representative of that population. It is not feasible to study the whole population. So it becomes easy if we select some part of the population which will act as representative of that population. Coming to sample statistics and population parameters, whatever observations we collect from a population will be known as population parameter, and whatever variables or data we collect from samples, it becomes sample statistics. Statistical methods for study of figures and to draw inferences from the data available. Like if we have data, if it is unsorted, we cannot have any information from that data which is available. So we have to sort them out, we have to group them, and then we can draw certain inferences or conclusions from that data. So we need mathematical techniques to evaluate these figures, to study these figures and to draw the inferences. So these techniques are called as statistical methods. Now coming to types of data. Broadly, it can be divided into, there are many classifications, but broadly it can be divided into qualitative and quantitative data. The qualitative data is in which the characteristic does not vary, but the frequency of that characteristics varies in a population at a particular point of time. For example, in 1991, what were the number of births in India will be fixed. The frequency can vary. In 1991 it will be different, 1992 it will be different, but it cannot be half birth or half death. And at the same time, if we talk about quantitative data, both the characteristics and frequency vary. For example, height and weight of people, because height cannot be only one height. There can be a range of heights and weights. For example, weight is 51 to 60 kg. Then in a particular population, there can be around 10 people who are weighing 51 to 60 kg, and then 61 to 70 kg. So this data is known as continuous data because both the characteristics are changing and the frequency are changing. So both of these parameters are changing. So we call it as continuous data. But here, number of birth or death is an isolated phenomena. It cannot be 3/4 birth or half birth. So this is known as discrete or discontinuous data. There's a very important short note which is asked in exam for final year students, especially prevalence and incidence. And for PGs and interns for exam purpose also and for research purpose also, we have to know these two terminologies. If we call about incidence, incidence is number of new cases. Cases means any person, any number of the unit which are suffering from disease or any characteristic in question, like number of new cases. Like if we talk about corona episode, so number of new cases in Indore on 31st May or on 1st June will be known as incidence. This is normally expressed as rate. It is calculated as number of new cases divided by population at risk. So we have to define the population at risk and it is multiplied by 1000. It is always expressed per 1000, like birth rate, death rate. So number of new cases or incidence is always expressed as rate, and this indicates risk in a population. How many number of new cases are coming in a population will define that whether that population is at risk of having that disease or not. So when you write this question in exam, you can give examples. You can elaborate this. Then prevalence. Prevalence is total number of cases, old and new in that population. So this will indicate the disease burden in that population. It is mostly calculated as ratio and it is calculated as total number of cases in a population divided by number of people who were examined multiplied by 100. So it can be given as like Indore's 10% population is suffering from coronavirus. So it is mostly given in ratio or percentage. But if the prevalence is very low, if a disease is rare, it can be written as like for example 45 per 1 lakh cases. So it can be written like this also. And what is the relationship between prevalence and incidence? We know that prevalence is equal to incidence into duration. So whatever duration is there, the prevalence will always be equal to incidence multiplied by duration of the disease. If we talk about types of prevalence, then there are point prevalence and period prevalence. Point prevalence means total number of cases of a particular disease in a population at a given point of time. In 1991 or in 2020 or in March 2020, number of total corona cases in Indore were around 7,000. So that is point prevalence. And period prevalence is since from 1st March 2020 to 30th June 2020, how many cases were there or how many cases will be there, that will be known as period prevalence when we define the prevalence in a particular period. Now there's another important question which is asked in exam, that is cross-sectional and longitudinal studies. Cross-sectional studies are those studies which are conducted on a population at one point of time. Means if you study a population only once, then you call it as cross-sectional study. For example, if we want to know number of corona cases in Indore population on 1st of June, so you will study this total data. This will be cross-sectional study. So this will give you prevalence. So hence the cross-sectional studies are also known as prevalence studies, because if you are studying a population once, you can come to know what are the total number of cases present in that population. So that is why they are also known as prevalence studies. But if you study this population after a week, it becomes longitudinal studies. Means when you are studying population repeatedly. So you will come to know what are the number of new cases. Like if you study Indore population for corona cases on 1st June, and then you re-study Indore population for corona cases on 8th June, then you will come to know that on 1st of June there were X number of cases, and on 8th June there were Y number of cases. So there was a change. So whether there were some new cases, so new cases if we come to know through longitudinal studies, that is why longitudinal studies are also called as incidence studies. There's one MCQ or one line question which is asked is, what are the sources of data? Sources of data is like we have primary sources. When we directly get the information from the source, from the person involved. This can be done by experiments. We conduct experiments on certain patients, like we give them drugs and we see the response, and this is a direct source. Or surveys, we give them questionnaires, or we study their parameters, or we study their lifestyles, because this type of information is directly collected from the person involved. This is known as primary data. And then secondary source of data or secondary data is when we get this data from the records. So whatever records are available, like in some college you have some records, you want to know that how many students were studying in 2004 in that college. So you go to records. So whatever data you collect is secondary data. That's all for today. These are the terminologies. So just master them so that whenever I upload my next video, you will be able to understand those terminologies and those topics very easily. So if you have any queries, please you can put it in comment section, or you can reach out to me on my email ID. And yes, a kind request that please subscribe to my channel